They're guys. They do magic. They are the Magic Guys.
Ooh, I love her. I like it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 118 of the Magic Guys. I'm Josh Libido. That's Doug Khan. And down there is Nick K.
Bam, bam.
We are your gentlemen for today.
What's up, Nick?
And welcome. We're just going to wait for the music to stop. There we go. All right. First of all, Doug, how you going? You just did your own live, which I saw on YouTube's.
Doing that every day.
Yeah, for listeners out there, rather than doing a trick a day May, Doug, tell everyone what you're doing every day of May, so let them get amongst it.
Trick a day May live. So every day on YouTube, generally around 4 o'clock Central, I'm on the platform trying to be magical live, like magic was meant to be.
Are you creating a trick?
Watch me regret mistakes on a daily basis.
So are you creating a trick live there and there, or do you take suggestions like where you go, okay, guys, we're going to do a trick. Why don't you suggest 3 objects, and I'll see what I can come up with? Like, how do you go about it?
Yeah, happy to go that direction. But what I've imposed myself is this. I'd like to better the magic I do. So I'm not looking to like create and avoid, but if need be, that's fine. So that's one. More than anything, I think I want to share like the history and small improvements with the audience that I'm addressing. So like today we did rope magic. I had a little thing I was working on with pocket management. I got to share that, and then the history of George Sands and the half a dozen magicians I learned from. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I think the history is a good moment. It's always nice to know where you came from, to know where you're going. I think that's really cool. And the challenge aspect's quite fun. We do a thing called Magic Sports in which we take, it's basically like an impromptu comedy/magic show, much like you would see Whose Line Is It Anyway? And in this show, we borrow objects from the audience, and then we have to create stuff. And in one of the shows, we actually got a man's prosthetic leg.
Wow.
So we just performed a trick as a pirate. We felt that fitting.
I've seen a few clips of these. We should find some of these for the viewers one day. But I've seen I love the story deck, the impromptu story deck you guys do.
Oh yeah.
Where there's like 5 of you. Each card gets drawn. You have to keep the story going with that card that comes out. That's crazy. And I've seen Tim Ellis do like his ring routine, but someone selects the music for it in the audience. So like it was like a rock song or something. There's certain
games that game is called Drunk Tech, based on a true story in which it was actually Raymond Crow. Raymond Crow was performing a bit way back in the day when they used to use cassette tapes, and he basically did his rehearsal. So they hit the cassette tape. He did his rehearsal. They said, "Great, that was perfect. Thank you very much." The guy forgot to rewind the tape and just press play and ended up playing whatever song was next on that tape. And so Raymond Crow had to go, Drunk Tech, let's do it. And he performed the same routine to a whole different song, which gave it kind of new life. And there's many stories about how this has actually really helped people, how, they were doing this at FISM at one point.
What a great creative outlet these events sound like. Is this a paid event? Like, is it an improv show featuring magicians?
Correct. It's an improv show. We do it at Magic Fest. I don't think we're doing it this year, to a lot of disappointment of fans of the show. It's a big shame. It's a really good fun thing to do. I try to do it regularly if we can, if we got enough guys in the group. But the games are very fun. One of the games that I really enjoy is called Emotional Roller Coaster. And basically every 30 seconds you give like a spectator a bell and a list of emotions. So happiness, joy, horny, all kinds of emotions. And then basically you allow that person at their volition, as you're doing your routine, they go ding, and then you go angry, and you got to do your pattern mad, pick a freaking card, and then ding, you go sad, and they choose a 4 hearts. You're like, I love the 4 hearts. My mom used to have it as her favorite card. Ding, horny, and I'm like, I fucking love this card.
I'm thinking horny is first every time, right? Come on. It's every time the first one.
Yeah. Jeez, that's great. That's something we could do on the pod. Even that's some funny stuff.
I do take requests. You were asking if that happens. Like a guy has been asking me. The self-imposed limit's 24 hours. So after the last live, I start working on the next day. Today I had a guy suggest Stars of Magic, and I'm thinking I can make a little magic show out of the routines I know from Stars of Magic, a book that I haven't visited in a long time, but one that I've used professionally routines from that book, and so maybe I do that tomorrow. I'm thinking. So it does. I do get comments that spurn creative, mindsets towards the next project. So it's kind of working.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you have that much knowledge in magic. You can just do that, right?
Yes, that's what
And
happens.
if you get lost, if you're stuck, just pull to a random page in Tarbell, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Stick around for day 28.
Yeah, one of the best bits of advice I ever got about magic was just be good at life and the magic will come. And I kind of find that true because for those of you that don't know, Josh Nabito was telling us how, well, we're doing the podcast a day late. And the reason for that is because we're oversharing right now, but our good friend Josh had a colonoscopy. And I was like, we should do a trick and do this live. So how fun would it be if it was like, okay, Josh Nabito on one camera passed out, the camera crew, I obviously have no idea.
This is where Jack Grady needs to come in to finish.
Oh,
this
yeah.
trick.
Yeah. Jack Grady or maybe Pig Cake. Yeah.
Grady's
And then the
man,
thought
though.
of-
come on.
Yeah. And the thought of card was a few inches up your intestinal tract, and it's your card, the one you merely thought of.
And then
Four
Jack Grady
hearts.
crawls out of your bum. And hey,
This is my field of
no.
magic. I'm the ass
barge
magician.
in my skin.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
What does he say? The bottle becomes a glass. Where'd it go? Up Josh's ass. Something like that. Yeah.
And it has.
Thank you, Jason. Let me just bring up this. Let me just bring up this comment. Our buddy Jason, who is in the chat today. 3 bald magicians on the podcast. Well, my friend, we've taken over. We've finally taken over.
God, man, took long enough.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't worry, Jason. Your day will come. You're young. I can't imagine him being bald. He has these beautiful, luscious locks. Like they are. He's like the paddle pup lion. He's got this mane.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Like that.
He knows it. Yeah, he knows it.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to cut it off and capture all his energy. But yes,
Yeah,
but
one last
to
thing
your
that-
point, yesterday, yes, I had a colonoscopy. It's a thing I get annually because they're fun. No, because I have to get them checked. You just got to stay healthy, everybody. And it was fine. It's really just fun. You go in, you get knocked out, and you wake up like nothing's happened. And
The tough part, I've had
they
one.
buy you dinner.
It's the prep. Like the day before, you have to consume this mass amount of things humans should not have to consume. That's what I
Ah,
am.
yes.
Wait,
That
what's
used
okay?
they used to
For
be
the
true.
virgins in the group, like,
Yes.
what is involved with the colonoscopy?
Maybe Josh has new info. He said that used to be true. Tell us what's
Yeah.
true, Josh Norbito.
Okay.
So what used to be the case, and is not very fun at all, is the day before your colonoscopy, you have to clean out your colons, right? Because basically what's happening is a camera is going up your you-know-where, and they're going to check all of your gastro area, whatever that proper term is, your colon, your intestines, and
So,
the
question.
opening of your stomach.
Yeah. Oh wait, it goes through all. So okay, it goes through large intestine,
Yeah.
small intestine, stomach. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I guess it would just be the small intestine.
Yeah, I don't
guess.
think it goes that far. The intestines are huge, so it's not
It
going to
definitely goes up to the opening of the stomach, 100%, because they have to check like how far up. Yeah, so that's what's happening, right?
Out. It's no fun.
That's right.
So there's like a camera. It's like on a reel. Like it would literally be like the garden hose. This
Yeah.
type of situation.
That's it.
that right?
Yeah, that's well.
Were
I
you
feel like it's a
awake for
little
the
more.
procedure, Josh, or are you not awake?
No, you're not awake at all.
Yeah, I wasn't awake either.
So
They
what
said
normally
you have to
happens?
pay extra for that experience.
That's right.
Wait, you just
That's
to affirm you can be awake. Is that right?
Yeah, and then for double extra, you get a happy ending on top of that.
No, I think they knock you out just because of just how embarrassing, I guess.
You have 6 people
would
over
be.
your butt with a camera.
6. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not to mention this thing I found out that they have called the sucker. Anyway, so normally what happens is I'll
Wait.
try and get back to this. Hang on. Let me build up to the
Years
the
of
date.
medical school for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So 3 days before.
What do? I run the sucker.
That guy sucks ass. So what? I got bills to pay. What about it?
Tell me about it.
Nice happy ending.
Yeah. And they never tell you who is the sucker in the room because there's like 5 people. You don't know. You only know who the doctor is, but
it's probably the person licking their lips the whole time.
Anyway, welcome back to the Magic Guys. All of that was just edited out, and you'll never know why. So 3 days before you start going on a low fiber diet, so you cut out like anything with seeds in it, like you just stick into like bread, like lean meats and stuff. Then a day before, what used to happen is you'd have to drink over like a day 3 liters of this stuff called glycoprep, which essentially just makes any liquid you have all go out of your small intestines to everything just starts flushing out your system. So that when you go in, you're squeaky clean and the camera, is not getting any surprises. And that's the worst part because you're just constantly drinking this stuff and it's shooting straight out. And it's just meant to happen and it's just not fun. And it happens for an entire day. But now what's happened, Doug, is they've, at least for me, my specialist found this stuff that now all I have to drink is 2 glasses of this stuff, which is one is just the night before and one's the morning of. And it essentially does the same thing, but with 2.7 liters less.
Wow.
It's a lot to consume. It's just like, you kidding me?
Yeah,
with the
it's
third
too much.
liter?
It's too much.
And how do you feel after all of it? Because I mean, like, this is gonna sound weird, but I don't mind if I get a bug every now and again and I just flush. I'm like, hey, spring cleaning, let's do this. Do you kind of feel good for having a good old fashioned flush and just clean the pipes, so to speak?
Yeah, true. Yeah, you kind of feel it kind of resets everything, and you also fast. So like you'll have your last meal at lunchtime the day before, and you won't eat until after the procedure. So you kind of don't eat for a day, 24 hours basically. But you feel that part's fine. I mean, you don't really feel like eating anyway when everything's been flushing out. So you go in after all that stuff. Then it's the easy part. You lay down, they give you a nice cocktail that the anesthetist just knocks you out, and you wake up like nothing happened. No pain, no questions.
When you lay down, are you laying like on your side, kind of like, or are you face down like massage table, or are you bent over like this?
Yeah, no, you're pretty close.
Doggy style?
You basically assume the fetal position on your side with your knees up to your chest. Yeah, right on the side there. Yeah, okay. Yeah. And they knock you out, and then they humiliate you, I'm sure, but you're out of it, so you have no idea. And you just wake up, and then they buy you dinner, and they let you eat, and then everything's fine. And I look forward to that every year. So, but hence, that's why we couldn't do the podcast yesterday. I've tried asking them to film me getting knocked out, and they keep denying me, which, they're doing everything else to me. Why not film me?
Do you think that, like, when you perform at these arenas that you do, that, like, this group of people have this luxury of being able to go, like, that guy there, yeah, the handsome one with the hat, with the cube, I've seen his butthole.
Yeah. I mean, there's only 5 people that could say that, and they were in that room. So if I ever do like a medical show, like a medical conference, like maybe that'll happen. I'm definitely not giving my gastroenterologist any comms, that's for sure, because they could definitely say that. Yeah. But in other news, it's Trick-a-Day May, guys. It's Trick-a-Day May. Doug's doing it with the lives. I wasn't going to do it, and then I just felt this mass amount of fear of missing out on all the fun of doing it. So for some reason, I'm doing it as shorts. And Nick, we were just discussing, like, Nick hasn't done it, but you said you kind of had a reason why.
Look, I saw you, like, because I was like, I'm going to do it, I'm busy. And then you were like, I'm going to do it, and then you did it. And I really enjoyed yours as well. And then I was sort of like, I got this FOMO moment. And I'm never a FOMO guy, but I have this notion of like, I'm missing out. And here I am at day 3, and I'm asking myself, in fact, I'm asking the listeners and the guys in the chat, if I started at day 3, right? Meaning that, like, I did 3 videos and I caught up, do you think that's acceptable to join the Trick a Day May? Or if it's like, dude, it's been 3 days, you're out. Too bad. So I'm going to put that towards the audience. And if they say that, like, hey, you got time, come get amongst it with us, then I'll do it. Because, again, it is a fun creative outlet. And but the thing is, like, you can sometimes spend all day sort of like obsessing over it. Do you find that? You're sort of like, crap, I got to make something today. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because you want to do something original, or you want to do something, you know, like this bit sitting around the cupboard. And because I did it last year as well, you don't want to repeat yourself, do you?
The thing I found that, because this is now, goddamn, my 4th year doing it. Every year I found a way to progress it or like different theme it. So the first year I did it was just on my phone, like on my reverse camera on my phone.
Yeah.
Very terribly done. Just put it in my stories. Second year I had my actual Canon DSLR camera. So I'm like, great, I'm going to film it in better quality. Third year, I'm like, I'm going to make them all either looping videos or with 2 of me in it. And I was like, I'm going to really test my editing skills. And then, so that's why for the 4th year, I was like, nah, I don't need to do it. But then I was like, but now I have better lighting and stuff. Like, you know, I'll just do it anyway. But I think as long as like you just find some unique take on it, like how Doug's doing it live, you know, I feel like if you were to do it, Nick, what you didn't do last year is like inject your personality into it. So maybe you could be more Nick K talking to the camera rather than
silent clips?
You know.
Did you do
I did silent clips.
Silent magic?
I did 30 tricks with my mouth shut, which is so rare. Because I don't know how to shut up.
Yeah. So that was kind of like you being out of your ballpark.
That was the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we know, at least if your goal is to get any, you know, engagement, and maybe it's not. That's not like that's a requirement, but talking is better. You know, people want to hear words with their theater.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Bob's saying if you catch up, we'll let you in. So if you catch up on the last 2 days,
okay,
that's possible. Mike says, let's
Bob's
get it.
The gatekeeper.
That's right.
Thou shalt not pass. Where's the other 3 tricks, man? You gotta get past Bob possible.
And Bob's saying Josh's day 1 is the first one that Syndicate judged. Lol, we loved it. I think he means his Syndicate Magic group. You judged it. Well, okay. Appreciate you judging me. I literally sat down.
Judging going on?
I don't know. I literally sat down and was like, all right, I'm going to make a video. What do I... To Nick's point, like, do we think on it all the time? I literally just... I don't know about you, Doug, but now I just sit down and I'm like, all right, what can I... I found my box of paper clips.
I'm doing I'm not thinking about it until the last one's over because I don't want to think about it. I want it to be a genuine, like, okay, what is going to happen today and how am I going to make this a little more special than last time? So yeah.
Exactly. Right. So I literally just sat down and was like, what props do I have near me? I had a bunch of paper clips and I'm like, okay, let's do a linking paperclip trick. Great.
Yeah.
So
there is prizes. Bob said so. All right.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I'm in it now.
Oh, okay.
Now
all right. Now there's
I tell you, the goal also in doing these lives is to find minutes to share on shorts. I had like quality issues, which I fixed today in a little bit, so I wasn't happy enough with my footage to make one yesterday. But I'm hoping to find at least a couple dozen shorts this month as well. You know, it's like, come watch the live. Here's what we did today. And after this podcast, I'll be going to my live footage and editing that for the shorts platform. So look for those as well. I'm double dipping.
Okay.
Double dipping. That's it. Yeah. Repurposing, baby. You got to do it.
All right.
Yeah.
So Trick a Day May. I love seeing everyone else doing it as well. That's why on the Magic Guys Instagram, it's kind of just going to become a full-on, you know, sharing videos. At least one person's video every day. I'll kind of highlight and blasting the comments on people's videos. You know, stay tuned. Get involved. We love it. What else is happening? Well, I know. I titled this video today, Recovering from Magic Mess-Ups. Magic Mess-Ups. Now, we're all worried about tricks not working or what happens if I do it in real life and it messes up, you know. When we were talking the other week and I made a kind of a not a joke. It was a statement where like you shouldn't be learning Rubik's Cube magic. Sorry, you shouldn't be performing Rubik's Cube magic if you can't solve a Rubik's Cube. Remember I said that? Well, somebody sent me a message and was like, well, actually, Gregory Wilson sells a particular effect and he brags about the fact he can't solve a Rubik's Cube. And I was like, okay. And then I tagged Gregory Wilson to kind of like find out. And I didn't hear back from him. Not surprised. Busy guy, lots of gigs. But the person who messaged that sent me the ad copy to this effect of Wilson's, and it literally says, "This is so easy to do. You don't even have to know how to solve one." And that's like in brackets, Gregory still doesn't know. And I was like, that's interesting. But what happens when the thing that always happens to me happens, which is someone says, oh, okay, let me mix up the cube and then you solve it. And then what are you going to do in that moment? But anyway.
There's a luxury in having your audience be magicians you're selling to.
Yeah.
They don't screw with you. You know, they're like, they know the gig, so they're not going to screw with Greg Wilson. If he's doing that in the wild in public, good for him. And, so what? But probably just selling them.
And also, I think, because originally what we were talking about was in Magic, like, how do you know, like, how to start learning, right? And then you said, Doug, well, what if you have to make someone learn something first, it's like how to present something interesting to an audience rather than the slides. But in terms of Gregory Wilson, he spent long enough in Magic that he probably can get out of anything because he has so much knowledge in everything else in Magic. But the point is, what happens when you stuff up? How do you make sure the audience doesn't know you stuffed up? Where do you find a place to perform where it's okay to stuff up? There are all these kind of questions in the Magic realm. So I have a video, and this happened to me 2 weeks ago. I was doing Street Magic, and it was actually an effect that I've done for a very long time and should never stuff up, but it did. And anyway, this is what happened. So this is in Street Magic. So there's no pressure because I just won't post the video. I'll instead use it on a podcast for magicians to judge me. But let's check it out.
Could you name any card? Could you make up one?
Two hearts.
Two heart. Okay. Now you've got the rubber band there. So instead of going through all these cards, we're just going to use the rubber band to find the two of hearts. Okay?
Are you kidding?
Or we're going to try it. So you have an important choice to make. I need you to say stop. And when you say stop, I will stop. Okay, Morgan? Here we go. Okay. Stop right here. Okay, hold out your hands. I'm going to place this on top. Like this. Okay? And then in a second, I'm going to let go. But watch the deck. Okay? 1, 2, 3. And if you give it a second, the deck will actually shoot one card out for us from inside. And with any luck, we get the 3 of clubs. Now, do you know why? Hold on to the 3, because in a second, sometimes the 3 and the 2 can be confusing in a deck. And because of that, if we take the 3, because there is definitely a 2 of hearts in here. I'm sure we saw it earlier.
2 hearts?
2 of hearts. There should be one in here. And actually, you know why it's not in here?
Why?
I think it's not in here because damn, it's really not in here. What's going on? Did I leave some cards? That's why. There's one card left in the box. And that is your 2 of hearts. You made up the card that was inside the box, and I legitimately had no idea why that just happened. And you made it happen.
That's awesome.
That is crazy.
Yes, that's
wow. Morgan, thank you for playing my friend. You too.
Can I just follow you?
Yeah, I would love that, man. If you search this.
So
Look, let me say to your credit, that looks super genuine. Like that, like it looked like that wasn't the intended effect.
That guy was a
is true.
stooge, right? That whole video was faked.
yeah, I wish. No, that guy was giving such great reactions before that trick. I was like, oh, this would be great. And I went to do this effect that I always do. And so what happened was, before that, I'd been practicing this effect that uses 2 jokers. So this deck normally doesn't have the jokers in it. But so every time I want to do an effect that's not using them, I take the jokers out. But what happened was I'd already taken the jokers out, but I thought they were still in the deck. So before I started this trick, I took 2 cards off the top, put them in the box, put them in my pocket, because I rewatched the footage from before that clip starts. So I literally see myself on camera taking the top 2 cards, which has the 2 of hearts in it, put it in the box, put it in my jacket, and then I start the trick. So now I'm actually 2 cards less in the deck. So I did it to myself. So then that way, yeah, I'm 2 cards away from where I should be. And that's why, for the life of me, I just can't figure out why there's no 2 of hearts in this deck. So it's just a weird moment where I was like so confused myself. But once I figured out what had happened, I was like, okay. So I take the 2 cards out, flip it over so that you just see the 2 of hearts. And then, you know, thank God he still reacted anyway. So like he still had fun. But, you know, sometimes that stuff just happens. You know, that's just the way it is. And normally it's not as long-winded as that. But I just was so confused why there was no 2 of hearts. Oh, this goddamn deck. But
doing mem deck with that? Mem deck?
Yes. Yeah. Well, apparently not then, but it was supposed to be. Yeah. I guess that's the one trouble is if you somehow lose cards from it, it's gonna mess up the order, right?
Yeah, but doubly stupefying when it wasn't there. You know it's there if you're doing mem deck work, right?
Yeah,
it's
because
not like you're having cards signed and given
exactly.
away.
Like if he had named any other cards than those 2, it would have been fine.
Right.
But it's because he just so happened to name one I took out. And, you know, we still found a way to get to the end. And, man, when I saw those cards in that box, I was so confused. I was like, did I not take them all out? What the hell just happened? And I remember a time where this magician that I looked up to, this older guy from, like, the Magic Club here in Brisbane, he was doing an effect, and he even brought his dog in because he had taught his dog to, like, take a card from the deck, and he was like doing this whole effect and the cards kept being wrong. And he's like, what the hell's happening? And it wasn't until he realized like he had a deck in stack on his table and he sat something down which pushed the cards forward, which put something else on top of like 7 of the cards. So when he took the deck back, now it had just totally messed up his stack again. Yes. But look, there's tons of times where like I've not gotten the right thing, but the key is normally, like if I was in a paid situation, I would have moved on much faster. And because I think you guys can agree and we'll chat about it. The audience don't know where you're going. And they always think that when something doesn't go right, it's because something else is about to happen, right? Because we do it quite often in our magic.
Right.
Like, you know, all the jokes like, is it in your pocket? No, but that would have been a great trick, right? Haha, okay. And like, there's all these playful times, like they can never tell. Like once when I really did stuff up, it took so long to convince them, like my friends, that I'd actually stuffed up.
Like,
Because
come
they're
on,
like,
John.
no, it's coming.
Come on, man, we're ready.
Yeah. I'm like, no, this is like, let's go get lunch. This didn't work. Like, yeah.
Yeah, the Magician in Trouble plot is an old one.
A good example of how people want you to succeed. He was waiting and ready, and that effect played fine at the end, you know? Yes.
Yeah, I've
It's
actually made an
almost-
effect one time where you purposely screwed up, and it was like, because sometimes you do stuff and they want to get you out and they want to get you wrong. So I did this whole bit where it was like, you do this whole revelation and you have 2 cards come out and it's like, oh, they're totally wrong. And then it's like, oh no, but if you add those together, what's the revelation? And they go like, oh, it's 18. I go, great, count down 18 cards. So it's this moment of like, I actually constructed this whole routine just to feed the ego of people who like, oh, I'm going to try and screw him up. And then it's like, oh, we screwed you up. Hi, you didn't get it right. And I go, yeah, it's a shame, right? Now, how does that make you feel? But what if I didn't screw it up? What if actually we got it right? What if we add those 2 numbers together, this 10 and an 8, in the 18th position is the selected card? And they go, well, that would be good. And you go, boom, and you make it reveal. So I just wanted them to see, like, I'm just wondering, like, because some people like have this ego that like I'm gonna try and screw him up, and it's like, what are you trying to achieve? Do you think you're gonna feel good about things screwing up? Like, I just wonder. And so I thought maybe I could have a routine that could teach him that. And I think maybe I was aiming a little bit too high with that. But what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it's fun having moments definitely where it gives that person who might be a heckler a chance to heckle, knowing that you're about to prove them wrong. I love that. Like, I'll purposely in a ambitious-ish routine make it look like I'm like palming a card. So then when I say, oh, and somehow the card disappears, and then when I reach in my pocket, it comes out of the pocket, and I just hold it like this, and I just wait to see whose eyeballs are on it, and then I wait for that one guy who's been like saying stuff all night. Oh, it's under the hand, and I go, yeah, I don't know where it goes either. I just do this, and then they're like, and then they laugh at him, as they should. 'Cause don't fuck with us. But yeah, I do enjoy those moments, and things like David Blaine does a good job of that with card under watch, where it's like the card isn't at the position that it should be, that he's left it in their hands, and he's like, oh no, it's gone all the way out of the deck and then under the watch. But he plays that for a while, right? Like, oh, maybe it's that many cards and it's the next one. No, oh, maybe I'm off by one, and he's like, damn, and then it happens. What do you think, Doug?
I think that the longer you do magic, the better these situations work out for you, right? So you accrue a bunch of outs that you can begin to use. So, like, I've probably messed up more than any magician alive, but I'm very good at it now. So,
Yep.
So yeah, endure the moment and you'll be stronger for it. That's the wisdom, right? Keep going through the problem, unless it's just, unless you're just totally screwed.
Yeah, and that's rare though, right? Like that you're totally screwed, unless
It
it's
is
like
rare,
something.
right? It is rare.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of a moment. I can't think of.
Well,
Really,
it
too
depends
many.
on the methods as well. Sometimes you can perform certain tricks that the method is a particular gimmick, device, whatever it might be. And without that device, you can't achieve what you need to achieve. And that's where you're going to be dancing in a danger zone where you have to accept, if this doesn't work, there is no recovery. So whenever I'm doing things, whether it be something that requires batteries, some sort of gimmick, let's just put it that way. If it's something that could like malfunction in such a way, I will only structure my routine to add it as an extra kicker, extra kicker, extra kicker. And just to Tim's comment, which is Magic 101, they don't know the ending. Exactly right. So I have effects that have a kicker, but they could have another kicker, and another kicker, and another kicker, and have that Darren Brown-esque type reveal at the end. I have a lottery ticket reveal, which I've structured for my new show. And guess what? If the ticket doesn't, like if it doesn't work, they're not getting the kick-ass reveal at the very end. They're going to get half of it, because half of it will work guaranteed. But the other half that will put the routine into orbit and basically be a reputation-making piece for myself, that's where I draw the line. So you can appreciate, yes, things are going to screw up. You need to be able to bounce back. And if you have situations where there is no backup, if the gimmick or device or whatever the trick is doesn't work, or the card doesn't exist in the deck, like, don't do a thought of any card if you don't have a full deck. Do you know what I mean? Pro tip.
But this is why I always have the invisible deck on me. It's the ultimate out for card magic. No matter what goes wrong in a selected card trick, that's pretty much ready to provide a successful outcome.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, whenever I do a stage show, I always have an invisible deck just in my case.
Yeah, all right.
It's never used, but it's there as a backup. This is bringing up so many memories now of stuff. Like, I remember in 2020 when in Australia we started doing a lot more school formals because the government allowed formals like a school prom to happen, but they weren't allowed to dance because everyone had to be socially distanced. So they started booking entertainment to fill that void.
Right.
And I remember doing a magic show, and it was routines I'm not like doing regularly, but I came up with them because they're socially distanced. And there's a thought of routine from Colin Cloud, which is amazing, where it's kind of like a tossed out deck, but it's with a pad, and you're throwing out this pad, and they're looking and looking at questions, like think of your favorite movie, think of your pin code, think of your favorite meal or whatever, and then you're able to have those three people stand up. You can name the three things, and they sit down. Well, one time, someone didn't sit down, and I was like, "What? How did this not work?" And then when they said their question, it was something that they shouldn't have been able to look at, basically. You guys know where I'm going with this, with, tossed out deck and stuff. But they basically, just not followed my instructions. They'd looked at one of the 52 question for real on there. And luckily, at the end of the show, we were doing a prediction out of this chest that gets wheeled out, and you take out this prediction. And luckily, my awesome stage crew had just made sure I'd predicted this in advance. But on the paper, it had what she said that went wrong earlier in the show. So by that stage, everyone's like, "Oh, that's why it didn't work the first time, because it's part of the ending trick."
Yep.
And it seemed awesome, but I was like, "Oh, I stuffed it up," and no one knew. The other thing that just came to mind is when I was in Canberra a few weeks ago for the Showman, two things went wrong in the shows that no one would really know. One is I just spent a lot of money having this thing made that will shoot my Rubik's Cube out to me from my little box. It's very fun. And Nick was just mentioning electronics. This thing has a remote, which I did not bring with me to Canberra. I left it in Brisbane. So now you can't use this thing. But I managed to actually rejig it so that I could manually fire this thing. And so no one knows that comes there. It looks the exact same, but instead of being away from the box, I'm kind of holding the box, and this thing would still shoot out. So that was a very fast makeshift way out. And then the second thing is, Nick said sometimes things you prep, if they fail, there's no way out. And in my story deck routine that's to music, normally at the end, I'll turn one card into a whole handful of rose petals. Well, when I went to grab the load of rose petals, I couldn't feel it at all. And I only have 5 seconds of music before I'm meant to do this thing. And I'm like, there's no rose petals, there's no rose petals, there's no rose petals. Oh my God. And then the moment hit in the music, and I just did a I just did a Tenkai vanish of the card to the sound, and then the song ended, and everyone applauded that was meant to happen. But in my head, I was like, "Oh, I'm so bummed that somehow this
sounds
load."
Like a sexy ass finish for a card trick. A bunch of rose petals.
Right.
Is this on video somewhere? Have you posted this?
It's in the vlogs. Definitely show the end snippets of it.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Except in Canberra for that one show, I lost it, and I know what happened now. I just didn't attach it properly to my person, but in the moment, you're just I've got 5 seconds to either have nothing for this ending. But my brain was yeah, just do this vanish, and then we recovered. So as long as you have an out, you kind of don't have to worry so much about it not working.
Maybe the advice is that you need to appreciate that if it can go wrong, what would you do, so that it's not sprung on you. And there's no shame in that. There's no ego about things messing up. You just know that you don't plan to fail, but you can fail to plan. So you should have a plan should something go wrong.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yep.
In my close-up card act that I do on stage with the cards, in one show, the camera, because they decided to use a wireless camera live stream, the connection started failing. So at the beginning of the routine, 3 times, the screen cut out, and I'm doing the routine to just myself. And I was thinking in my head, because I have to keep going with the routine in order, if it comes back on, I'm going to lose where I'm up to in this routine. So I'm like, do I keep going, or do I just stop? Or and in my head, I was like, I should have had and out for this. Like, if this happens, there should be something I can just walk out to the front of the stage and do instead. But I had no thought of, like, why would the camera not work? You know what I mean? What would you do in that situation? But for context, it did eventually come back on, and I like kept going, but it was super weird at the start where it would like black out. And yeah. So if you're asking me, I'm the type of guy that if you're going to be performing stage bits, I say this specifically to stage, I'm a little more forgiving in roving, because you could screw up a roving set, but you're performing immediately after. But when you're doing a stage set, it's one chance. In the same breath, we should all aspire for the perfection, because one of the things that I promote to people is that every performance is an audition. Every performance is an audition. So every time you do something, they like it, they might follow you on Instagram or do something or book you, if not a week, a month, a year, 10 years later. Like, as long as you're in their mindset, when it comes time for a magician, you could get that, right? If you're a gigging magician. Now, if you know the routine, I'm going to use the ambitious card just for the sake of something that we're all very familiar with. And let's say that if you know every phase of your routine so well, you can probably structure the routine if things are dropping out. You would have to do this very organically, but here's what I would do. I would gauge what's being put there, like to and from, gauge how many phases I've missed, and then also gauge which phases I really want my audience to see. And then I would restructure the routine right there, like I would a drunk tech, right? Which is what that magic game was earlier in the conversation, and just ensure that, you know, there's always some bits in a multi-phase routine that really sell. And I'm assuming that what you did was a multi-phase routine, correct? Yeah, to music. To music. Like to a song where the lyrics are matching.
But look,
you know,
put
the
yourself
slides
in
you're
the
doing.
hot seat. You got a camera on you. There's 1,000 people watching, and the video goes out. What do you do?
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess my question is mainly like, what do you do if it doesn't come back on?
I mean, if you kind of got to throw in the towel at that point and be like, hey, we're having tech probs. We'll get back to this.
But
Let me
this
entertain
is
you with a
the
stand-up piece. And
this
then
is the
maybe
last this is the last routine in the show. So it's not like we can jump to something else. Yeah. I also have seen this happen to Adam Trent. If you guys have seen The Illusionist,
I remember this.
In the show, he does this great bit with these screens behind him, and he has like multiple versions of himself on the screen, and he dances with himself, and he passes objects through the screen to himself, like a cane, like a fan of cards goes from the screen to him. And one show, the screens didn't come on, and he did this whole act just himself with black screens behind him. And he does like a transportation between like the two screens, like they separate the screens. So there's nothing here. And he walks into one digitally, jumps to the other screen, and then walks out in real life in the other one. And having that happen where there's nothing on the screens is very awkward for like 20 seconds to just have nothing while he's gone behind.
Yeah.
And he even said, like, that's never happened before. And
Really?
yeah.
Seems like you're playing with fire if that's your, you know.
Yeah, and this was at QPAC. This is where I had the same issue too. Fortunately, funnily enough, at QPAC, this is like big theaters that have, you know, all the tech, but in that case, the computer just like buzzed out for him and wouldn't play it.
The last trick in your show is a story trick in the whole show, a video story card trick.
So the last like full routine,
Uh-huh.
because you've just seen all this, you know, action happening, and then it hones it down to this one spot, and the routine is pretty good, but it's to this love song. It's like, it has a really nice feel to it, tone to it.
Going from big to real tight. I can get behind that. Is
And
it
then-
you doing the moment?
So it's me doing the routine, right?
Uh-huh.
And then after I finish the routine, everyone comes out. We all do one more thing together.
Okay.
And then we take our bows and stuff. But it's at a pretty pinnacle point where it's not like I can say, oh, well, I'll see you again, you know, for the next thing and just move on. I guess that's what I'm saying. But I'm wondering, what I want to do now is have some routine, even if it's with cards, that I could still go, you know what? Let me just show you in person, switch to this other thing, and just show them something.
Here's what you do. You get 6 cards and you throw 3 away and there's still 6. And then you throw 3 away and there's still 6. It's a killer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. I've been deep in thought while you were talking about that, and I think that it is the type of thing where like I was in a band for 10 years before I got into magic, right? So I was on stage doing my thing, and I treat magic the same way I wrote my songs. So when I say that, I treat my sleights like my chords, and I treat my patter as my lyrics, and I write songs. I write magic routines.
Love it.
And that's the way I think about it. And so when I was doing shows, and I did like, again, 10 years of shows since I think I was 14 when I first started doing like playing and live, like with a band and everything else, you know? So when I think about that, sometimes you do a thing, the power goes out, or you break a string, or you know, you might be able to play through a song, but if there's ever a situation where you go like, hold up, guys, we want to give you what you deserve. We're going to play this one again. Count me in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you get back into the song. I think that's an option. I'm treating it like a song. I think being able to say like, whoa, guys, look, respectfully, we got to have it fixed. We don't, great, guys. You guys have spent a lot of money to be here, and I'm here to show you why. So we're going to do this from the very tip, from the very top again. You want to see from the top, say yes, great. Take it from the top, Jimmy, and then boom, you count it in. You just rock and roll your way through it.
Yeah.
That's probably would be the way that I would do it with the experiences I've had on stage. I lean into that really heavily.
I'm thinking, I love that. And you know what? I think that's the answer is if the venue is going to have a wireless projection setup, which is the time that there could be errors because there's no cables guaranteeing the connection if there's interference. The safe should be I have my own camera on a tripod that is also hooked up manually that can be dragged out and just kind of, a bit more uglier to set up. But we got, hey guys, we want to do this for you, right? We're going to do this again, but with this. If the other one's not coming back on, maybe that's what it is. And then we go.
Yeah.
Like you
and
said,
there's also this notion, like, let's say that like you did lose power. It would be this type of thing where we go, sorry guys, things happen, but we're going to do this one acoustic. So the idea is that you can do like a different version of the trick a different way.
Yeah.
Or just do it like unplugged, so to speak. So like it might not be the exact same routine, but you could just say to them, because they don't know the ending, they don't know what they've missed. You go like, guys, sorry, we're going to do this acoustic, unplugged. And then I say that metaphorically, but you can then produce a routine that it's like
to the same song still, but now it's something else. That's great. Yeah. That's great too.
I think the closing piece, you should have a legit unplugged option for that spot. Like there should be something ready.
Yeah, and look, I have lots of fail safes like for my own routine, right? Like I have an extra deck that's ready to go to. I can start and stop, but I just never thought the camera would not work, right? In such great a venue until now. So now you're right. I'll have a version that I'll have an extra camera and I'll also have the acoustic version ready to go.
When I was your age, all we had to worry about was the candles going out on the stage.
Yeah. Wow. When that's funny. When the Masters of Illusions were coming on, like, was episode number 1 like in black and white by chance? Because that would be interesting with costuming and props, like having to think about the fact no one will see like the color of it. Was that a thing or no? It was all in color by that time.
Masters of Illusion? What are you talking about?
Like magic specials on TV.
Wow. So the early ones were black and white, but did Doug Henning do like a Wizard of Oz moment? I'm thinking he did in the 70s where he started with black and white and it turned to color, but I might be making that up.
Because I wonder, like, because then once it turned to color, they'd be like, oh no, now these drapes behind us, we got to make sure they're all the same color to mask, the illusion or the whatever.
No doubt. Back in the day, you had it easy, the black and white, grainy, now we got 4K, high def, no mistakes allowed.
4K, when you have 4K and the camera's filming you doing close-up, that's crazy. Like last night, Nick, did you watch Cosentino's special by chance?
Oh, I didn't know it was on.
it was on. Oh, I mean, it was on in Brisbane. I assume it was on for you as well. But
It's an Australian magician.
That's so funny, Doug. Yeah, yeah. Because
Yeah.
in Australia, we all know who he is, but
Yeah.
I forget that he's only famous like in Australia.
Yeah.
Which is his own branding choice and everything. But he, how do you synopsisize Cosentino for
So
Doug?
the way I would equate it is, like the States has Copperfield. Luis de Matos is for Portugal.
Yeah.
Cosentino's Australia's representative.
All right then.
And
Got
I'll
it.
pull up a photo of
Well-
him real
well said.
quick. Yeah, so this is Cosentino's vibe once my camera decides to let you see it.
So think Michael Jackson meets Dan Sperry / Houdini. Like
Yeah.
he's
Is he
very
doing,
very handsome. He's in amazing shape. He's quite small in stature. He's not a big dude, but just like exceptional. Like he's built like
Is he
a
doing
like
like
an Adonis.
annual television specials then?
Yeah, so he was already a touring magician doing illusions before TV, but then he came second on like one of the first seasons of Australia's Got Talent. Then now he's been on like Dancing with the Stars. I think he won Dancing with the Stars here in Australia. And he's been on like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, which is like they take celebrities, put them in Africa and they have to survive. He's been on a whole bunch of stuff. He has TV specials like every year, I would say. And yeah, that and yeah, he gets hired in the sort of top tier bracket of entertainment and that kind of thing. But I watched this special last night, and so he's known for stage. He's not known for close up. And if you're watching this, Cosentino, if you're watching this, Paul, you do great work, but we know you're not a close up magician like first. So because the cameras were so high def, I could see his hands like shaking when he's like going to do the card reveal from the mystery box, and like you can see the sweat on his face because the camera's so close up. Because like in the illusions and stuff he's doing, like he looks perfect, but then because the camera's so close up, you're seeing him sweat doing ambitious. And but the detail he goes into is awesome. Like for example, he's doing an ambitious card routine and the woman signed it, and he goes draw an animal on there, and she draws a fish, and he's like, oh, add some friends to the fish. She draws some more fish, puts the card in the deck, boom. There's the card, and then here's an aquarium omni deck with real fish in it. Like that's the kind of detail he goes to in the in the show, which is cool. But because it's high def, you see like the actual nerves in him going, and you see the sweat, and so that's a tricky thing on TV, I reckon. It must be nice though to have your own TV special. So it's a good problem to have.
He performs really strong magic. I did a show with him a little over a month ago now, and he does really, really strong stuff. You know, he was breaking glasses with his brain and things of that nature, like at a close-up corporate event. You know, he brings out the big guns.
No
as
doubt.
opposed to
You're
things
not
that
playing
like,
around. You're doing tricks like that.
yeah, like opposed to doing things that you'd reset and go to the next table super quickly type
Walk
of thing. You
around
know what I
glass
mean?
Breaking. What?
Nah, he was doing TV grade magic at a live event, and he was doing it pretty well from what I could see. But I guess it's that type of thing. I don't know. I think that if I was on TV, there would just be a comfort knowing that if I screwed it up, I burn the tape. You know, I burn the tape, and it's like gone. That never happened. You know.
True.
I recall hearing nightmares of being at a David Copperfield taping. Like if you went to a show where he was taping for television, you might be there 10 hours as he does the illusion over and over to get the moment right.
That sounds like Copperfield. That sounds like what
Would
he
you
would
be
do.
mad about that though? Would you be mad if you were held captive 10 hours in a Copperfield show? Would you be like,
around
this is the
hour
best day
5,
ever?
I would get a little antsy. Like the third time I watched him slice that girl in half, I'd be like, that was a good one, Dave. Cut.
Man, I remember getting told a story of not to the audience, but one of the bits they were doing where he was doing like a tournament restored card, but it was a card that's very old and was worth a lot of money.
Card. The baseball card, I think it was.
The baseball card, right? And when he does
Yeah.
the restoring part, smoke appears in his hands, like in the last moment. And then I remember getting told the story of during the taping, they did it, and all these people checked it to make sure the framing, he didn't flash, he didn't whatever. And then it wasn't until the very last person that gives the green light and they include it in the special realized they could actually see the guy pumping the smoke tube like in the shot. But they were so focused on Copperfield and his hands and stuff, they didn't think to look like to the side, and you could see like this tube coming up. Yeah, you could see like
This guy in the background just giving it one of these.
Man, can you imagine the outrage Copperfield would have if that made
But
it?
you know he
and
throws a
was
hissy when things go wrong. You know he's just a magic.
100%. Yeah, and I think talking about audiences, I felt bad for the audiences at Australia's Got Talent because they have to be there for a long ass time as well. For those don't know TV land, like when I did the semi-finals for Australia's Got Talent, the audience have to be there for, I want to like 6 hours plus, at least 6 hours, because every act has to get done. They want clips of people applauding. They want close-ups here. There's a big gap between each act, and they have like a warm-up guy come out and kind of interact with the crowd the whole time. But they like encourage them to applaud. They tell them when to clap along to a song. They're really just treated like this cattle. And I'm like, God damn it. That's like, I would hate to.
That's a lot.
I'm never going to watch a taping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Not
think that
interested for-
any magician, all magicians should actually take an opportunity to see a actual studio recording of something, because it blows your mind that when you watch a show that goes for 30 minutes, but you have to be there for 3 hours, like to watch it just be repeated and the way it's done. And then you look at stuff like, that's how I befriended my friend Michael Pope. I'm doing a show with him in a couple of months. He's a TV warm-up guy. That's his hustle. And so like seeing that world is really fascinating because he does stand-up and mind reading and all kinds of bits of stuff, while throwing chocolates out to the audience to keep them sugared up and energized and stuff, So it's really interesting to see, because if you are going to be a magician, and you really stick to it, you are going to be on TV at some point, I mean, for me, the best TV opportunities are just the quick live crosses. Like when I'm just on Sunrise and they cross live and you just got like 6 minutes and you can leave. That's my favorite. Those are the best TV.
Yeah, true.
I love those.
Yeah. Just don't drop coins like I did, and you're fine.
Flashing
No, I
back
love
to
those,
the
like-
state fair last November. I'm like, I'm the new guy. I get the TV spot. It's 4 a.m. They want me out there, and it's 40 degrees. Yeah,
Yikes.
that's cold.
Call off. Oh, right. Fahrenheit.
Yeah, American temperature. So all the
fun at
sleight
all.
of hand that I love to do is out the window. Plus, it's 4 a.m. What? No.
Yeah. I get reminded by this a lot with showmen. Like, I complain sometimes when we have early flights and stuff, and then they go, all right, well, just go back to your corporate gigs and let someone else do this job. And I'm like, fuck, you're
yeah,
right.
right.
Yeah, we can't complain when we get to do cool stuff.
I don't mind getting up in the mornings and just hustling away, getting everything done before the rest of the world wakes up. Like I run an agency with my best friend, and I got half these guys. I hit them up. I'm like, so I get up in the morning, take care of everything. Like I've been up since six this morning. I've already had one Zoom meeting and jumped in straight into this one. So and that's just to build my business and so forth. So when people go, I don't get it, man, how are you so successful and how do you have this and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I don't wake up at the crack of noon, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't wake up at the crack of noon.
I hit the ground running at 5 a.m. for my own gym, but I'm going to be grumpy. You want me at 40 degrees doing your news story. Live and learn, man.
That's when you rely on gimmicks, Doug, I reckon. All right.
Yeah,
That's,
I
right?
did
Like,
actually.
if it-
Guess what I did?
What?
Invisible
Invisible deck?
deck.
Invisible deck. Invisible deck, the condom of card magic. You just, when
but
you
it
need
is.
it
That's-
and
I
it's
mean,
in your
that
pocket.
Situation, what else are you going to do? It's freezing cold out there. It's limited. And literally, it was a 2-minute spot. So it's not like I have time to craft theater in 2 minutes.
So I can do coin magic with cold fingers. Surprisingly, I can do coins cold a lot better than I can do cards with freezing cold hands. I do feel like, I don't know why. I just think that maybe there's the way you feel things or whatever else. But yeah, I can function with clammy ass hands.
It's also weird at 4 a.m. It's dark still, so it seems doubly cold when it's cold and dark.
Yeah.
You just got that bright spotlight from the camera hitting you, and it's like, be entertaining in the cold dark
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this: do you do a coffee before you perform? Because I know some people are like, I can't have caffeine, or people,
Well,
I
I
can't
drink
eat before I
coffee.
perform.
From waking moment till yes is the answer.
Yeah. Like I will have a coffee at 3 p.m. and take a nap.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. Nice.
I
Well,
want
I'm glad
coffee
we got
now.
that sorted. That's the important stuff. So, but to wrap this up, Nick, what's your verdict? Are you going to be catching up and participating in Trick or Day May, or are you
know what?
spectating?
I have, I granted, like this camera on my phone is a little ordinary, and I know I need a new one, but my phone guy was like, wait for the 15 to come out. Trust me, it'll be
That's
here in
what I'm
September.
doing.
And I'm like, yeah, right. So I'm going to wait for the 15 to come out. And so one of two things will happen. I might have just the slightest bit blurry in the corner of the camera, and I don't know why that is. I took it to my phone guy, and it's better. Or I'm going to have to do the laborious task of like using my 360 all the time, which is probably not a bad idea because I need to educate myself on how to use that better anyway. So I'm going to make one quick one today, and then upload that one immediately, and then try to do a second one and a third one, and we'll see. And if you guys want to see what that is, you can scope out my Instagram, Nick K Magic.
It's in the links already.
It's in the links already.
So
Yeah, boy. I think, dude, you should absolutely use the 360. I reckon, do it outside where it's going to get lots of light and not be grainy. But like, you could be the first one to be like that guy that did the 360 Trick or Day May. That could be, because you can do pretty funky stuff with that, Why not? Why not? I mean, none of my videos are being filmed on a phone. Like, they're all happening on a camera that I'm then editing and then
I
sending
shot
back to my
viral
phone. so I
videos
can post
inside
it.
on that 360. You can use it inside. Just light it up right. You can adjust everything on that lens.
Yeah. Oh, I love Bob Possible's comment, by the way. New Jason is the best.
I'm going to put on a
That's-
wig next week and just be like, just throw it around a little bit.
I love it. I love that. All right, guys.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Got to do some street shows.
Get it, fellas?
Thanks for listening. It's time for us to disappear now. But we'll see you again on the next episode of The Magic Guys.